Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. On this channel I talk about fragrance, skincare, fashion, and the finer things in life. And today we are talking about Bond number 9 fragrances. I have 5 of them in front of me right now. What is the common denominator when it comes to these fragrances? In my opinion, they are gourmand fragrances, and first 4 of them are kind of like recent releases from the brand. So I'm just gonna give you a rundown of these 4 recent releases, and actually 2 of them I have mentioned on this channel before, and spoiler alert, I told you that these 2 are not full bottle worthy. I still stand behind that, but I'm just gonna add a little kind of like different comments on those 2 fragrances. Maybe I'm just gonna nuance my reviews on these fragrances. First 2 of them, which are actually, spoiler alert, I'm gonna give you the names. First one is gonna be the Greenwich Village, the one in the green bottle, and the other one is gonna be the TriBeCa. So I talked about these fragrances on this channel before, and I said that these are not full bottle worthy. I still stand behind that, but I'm just gonna nuance my reviews. I'm just gonna give you a more detailed rundown, more kind of like a deep dive into these 2, and then we're just gonna follow up with, okay, Bond number 9, New Bond Street, and the newest release, Chelsea Nights. And at the end of this video, I'm just gonna give you a full bottle that I own, purchased with my own money, that I would recommend to you to go check out. So if this sounds like your thing, if you are in the mood for a video like this, Bond number 9, gourmand fragrances, recent releases from the brand, I think this video is for you. What are you gonna do? Go grab a drink. So, you know, on this channel, we always sip. I have my drink here with me. I'm just gonna show you my cup. And I have tea here in front of me. This is very cold actually. That's why I have my straw. I'm gonna take a sip. I'm just gonna wait. You do the same. If you feel like you want to eat something, I'm just gonna, you know, kind of like snack, that's alright too. Go grab something to eat. Come find me here. Or, you know, if you want to suck a dick or something, you can do that too. Whatever. Just do whatever you need to do. And come find me here. We are just gonna be talking about Bond number 9 fragrances. 5 of them. And it's gonna be a fun one. So, let's go. Alright, so Bond number 9. You know what? This is a controversial brand actually, because the owner, Louise Rahme, wow, everyone is talking about her because recently I heard a gossip. Actually, this is not a gossip. This is what happened. So, you know, I'm just going to give you that before we go into the details of the fragrances. So, Roja came up with a fragrance called Manhattan. And first, he released that fragrance it was kind of like exclusive to Bergdorf Goodman and to his website. I think 50 of them were delivered to Bergdorf Goodman, and the other 50 were sold on Facebook or whatever on his website. Whatever, that was really exclusive, and that was only 100 of Manhattan Parfum versions in the black case, coffin case, and that was sold out. Alright, and that was good, I guess. I did not try that version. I guess the reviews were good, people liked it, blah blah blah. And Roja did something that he usually does, you know. He starts with the highest concentration, parfum, and then he dilutes himself down to eau de parfum or essence de parfum. He did the same, and then he came up with Manhattan eau de parfum, and then he recently released that. And the day after the release, it was taken off the shelves. I was like, okay, so this was something that came to my attention almost like a month ago, 3 weeks ago. I was at a perfumery here in San Francisco in the Castro, and then, you know, I was there to actually test Manhattan Eau de Parfum, the recent Roja release. And they said, you know, yeah, we have it actually, but it's not on the shelf because blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. That sounds bizarre. Can I buy a sample that I usually do when I go to that perfumery store? They say, no, you cannot do that either. I was like, okay, can you spray it on myself and a piece of paper so I know what's going on with this fragrance? And they were kind enough to do that. And I was like, okay, so what's the deal with this? This was out on the website. This was out on the shelf apparently. You had it. So why this has been withdrawn? And then they were like, there's a legal situation, there's a blah 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 copyright with the name. And I was like, what's going on? This is like another brand something. So then, ding ding ding, the conversation opened up about the ball number 9, Manhattan 9s, whatever, any other Manhattan themed or named bottles. And apparently Louise Rahme were really upset about this, and then he went for the legal route, and then that led to Roja to take Manhattan Eau de Parfum from the shelves. So that was what happened. And then recently, I think Roja was able to solve that situation, whatever the situation is. It like a lawsuit or settlement? I don't know the details about that, but Manhattan is back for the holiday season. And then he says that, Manhattan is back for the holiday season, December. But the reality behind that whole thing is this, Louis Rahme, Bond number 9, and the Roja saga. Whatever. So we are dealing with a really ferocious, strong woman behind this brand, which is Bond number 9. And then this is a controversial brand, and she herself is very controversial because she is accused of racism, which at the end she kind of like admitted, she confessed that she did that. What was that? Let's remember that just a little. So apparently, Bond number 9 has stores in Manhattan, and then they kept having a lot of thief robbery situation. That happens a lot. When I worked at Apple in Pittsburgh, now I'm in San Francisco, I actually watched that. A group of people entered the store, and then they yanked everything out of the tables and they ran away. And as a person who worked there, you are not supposed to do anything. I worked at Starbucks too, Sephora too, because you cannot endanger yourself trying to avoid that situation, and you shouldn't be doing that because that also puts lives of the customers at risk. You just like watch them, and then if you can, you inform your manager or your shift supervisor of the situation, and they're gonna take it from there. Whatever. Most of the time they don't do anything. Even the security at Apple really doesn't do anything except for watching and maybe making phone calls to report the event as it happens. But then that is a whole different scene. That happened before my eyes, and it was kind of like shocking, a little scary too. Whatever, but it's pretty quick actually. That robbery like takes place in like 2-3 minutes, and then all of a sudden tables are empty, everything is yanked out. Whatever. So apparently this kind of situation had been happening in the past, or happened multiple times in the past at Bond number 9. And she was kind of like, what she did wrong was that she profiled that situation, and then she kind of like attributed her robbery situation or her loss when it comes to her store to African American. She kind of like profiled in a very wrong manner, in a very racist manner to a certain population. And then she implemented a code sentence, which is changing the light bulbs, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that whenever sales associates or she or anyone else hears this, who works at the store, this certain phrase, they kind of like get in an alarm situation. Apparently a person from the profiled or group, whatever they were thinking in their minds, in their racist minds back then, they're kind of like maybe making phone calls already, or alarm, like telling the security pay closer attention, whatever. So this is a fucked up situation. This is completely messed up, and there is nothing that can be redeemable about this situation. It is completely 1000% racist, and she is to blame for that. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, she confessed to that. She did that. She knew she did that, and then it's out there. And what this caused is that many people started to boycott the brand. for a very, very good reason. So on this channel, it's not one of those. You are seeing Bond number 9 bottles. You have been seeing Bond number 9 bottles on this channel. They are being reviewed. I'm gonna give you another side note to that. One part of the YouTube, like in America and in Europe, they don't really mention Bond number 9 fragrances because of this, the history, the profiling, the racism behind the brand, which no one, I don't stand behind that either. But the other part of the YouTube is that, they're not really featuring Bond number 9 fragrances, particularly for a reason that I kind of believe Bond number 9 does not send free PR bottles. And in today's world, in today's, YouTube, when we look at YouTube, everyone is showing us free bottles that they have received through PR over and over again. Like, channels are being run on free bottles, and they kind of like do whole videos all the time, and they're like, I like this, I like that, blah blah blah. They have tons of fragrances, and they're like, brand ambassadors. There is a ton, like a huge, an ocean of conflict of interest. How can you say bad things about a bottle that is gifted to you? So I'm a scientist. I work at a biotech here in San Francisco, and I'm old enough, and I'm actually smart enough to know that, like you are, there is a conflict of interest. If you are a brand ambassador, if a brand sends you the newest releases over and over again as a gift, kind of like, okay, you're gonna like that. It's not that, brand does not deserve it or you are biased. If you keep gifting me over and over again in my life with something that I enjoy and appreciate, that is the fragrance, of course I'm gonna like that. And of course, if I'm running a YouTube channel, very naturally, I'm just gonna feature those, and I'm gonna say I'm liking them. And then, this creates a huge conflict of interest, in my opinion. And this is not what I do at all on this channel. I'm never gonna waste your time with free bottles or fragrances that I did not buy with my own money. So this is the difference. This is the thing that really separates my channel from the other channels. But where we came from this point is because, I happen to think that Bond number 9 is not really feeding YouTubers with free bottles like, House of Sillage does, Roja does, most of the niche brands. Most of the niche brands you keep hearing on YouTube, actually, they are not guilty of, but they are the ones that are really feeding free bottles. Nishane as well, I know for a fact that, Roja, Serjov, BDK, House of Sillage, many other. There are many other, and those are the brands I like too, actually. But, what you will see on this channel is that I paid my own money to those. Bond number 9 doesn't really do that. That's what my feeling is, but I not be mistaken. And this is one of the reasons, on top of that racism saga, that, now that they're not really, forking out free bottles to YouTube channels, we keep hearing less and less about the brand. So, that being said, I don't really support the woman. I have no affiliation with the brand. What they did is heinous, outlandish, completely racist. But one thing that I'm going to add here is that, this is kind of like a different memory I had memory from last year while I was in Manhattan. So I spent 2 weeks in Manhattan, somewhere between August and September last year. And that was the time Parfum de Marly came out with Oriana. And I was in Soho, and I was like thinking, I know that Parfum de Marly had a physical store in the meatpacking district. So I was like thinking, if they have it, could I really buy a bottle? And that could be the souvenir from this, 2-week NYC journey trip. That's what my intention was, and I called the store, and then the sales associate, or the person who runs the store, is Donna. She works for Parfum de Marly, and then, she said that we have the bottles in the back, actually, but I don't know if I'm allowed to sell that to you. I need to get the go from my boss. His boss is the one who is handling Parfum de Marly in Europe. I'm following him on Instagram, and he's following me back. Most of the fragrance community know him. I can't. His name is now escaping my name. He's a French guy. He's very nice. He's very relatable. So apparently Donna called him, and then he said, "Oh yeah, you can sell the fragrance." What I did is that took the subway from Soho to Meatpacking District, and what I did was to buy the bottle, and that was, I believe, the first physical sale of the Parfum de Marly Oriana. Then we got to talk I got to talk to Donna about like other stores, Killian, Bon Number 9 in the Meatpacking District, so on and so forth, and I realized that she had worked for Louise Rahmé in her past, and then she knows her. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna ask you an honest question. This event happened, robbery, changing the light bulbs, profiling, racism. Is this really true? What she said was, yes, it is completely true. And then, she admitted to that whole thing too, and then she apologized. She also mentioned that she is a ambitious woman, and she's ferocious, and we can see it from the fact that she took Roja to lawsuit or court for Manhattan name, whatever, which is her very right to do that, because she started the Manhattan name on the bottles. I don't know the results of that whole thing, but the Manhattan is back. You can refer to the first part of this video, which is already 16 minutes in. I'm gonna talk about, oh my god, I cannot believe I'm doing this, but hey, I'm alone in my apartment. My roommate is seeing his so-called boyfriend, and Kat is sleeping, so we are quiet, and the Mission Street here in San Francisco is okay. It's not that bad, it's not that much of commotion going on. That's why I wanted to kind of like vent. And that's what happened. Well, one other thing that I learned from that conversation with Donna, who had worked for Louise Rahmé and now is working at Parfum de Marly store in the Meatpacking District, is that they had a big fallout with Creed, Louise Rahmé, and then she put up ads on the newspaper that she is giving away discounted, heavily discounted Creed fragrances away, and they had terrible arguments with the Olivia Creed, the Creed family, and then they had a fallout. And that also goes to say that the whole line, Bon Number 9 line, has its roots to Creed, because she was the distributor, she was the handler of Creed fragrances in the United States. So, well, long story short, she is there, her brand is there, she did racist things, and no one approves that. I don't stand by them either. That is a really bad situation. She admitted that, apologized that apparently. And what I have, the YouTube channel you're watching, is that I have only one full bottle that I deem to be the best Bon Number 9, and I actually deem to be one of the best niche fragrances of all time in front of me right now that I'm going to show you. But let's start with the other recent releases, and the first one I'm going to talk about is Greenwich Village, the green one. So before I gave the recipe for this fragrance, and I did not recommend the full bottle, let's remember that what I said to you is that you get 1 scoop of Baccarat Rouge 540 Eau de Parfum, and you get another scoop of Burberry Her Eau de Parfum, and you mix them together, and then you end up having Greenwich Village. So that goes to say this is not really something unique. I stand behind that review, I stand behind that, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to add a little nuance to that definition, because when I use this decant, I've been using this, actually this is my second decant of the fragrance. What I came to realize is that this has also a fresh, sharp, fresh, a little green feeling aspect to that. So what we are looking at right now is that, Burberry Her Eau de Parfum, Baccarat Rouge 540 Eau de Parfum, and a little green sharp freshness. And I believe this freshness, that sharpness, what caused some people on Fragrantica to get this feeling that this kind of like smells like a cat litter, which I totally understand, but fret not, that dissipates, that goes away. But what you end up with is that still fresh, but not that sharp, maybe not that irritating to your nose. Burberry Her Baccarat Rouge 540 mixture that dries down. This is a nice fragrance. But I will never, never, ever recommend a full bottle of this fragrance because this is not completely unique, or this is not gonna change your life. It will shine beautifully on a hot summer day. So if you are into Bond Number 9 so much, and if you like fragrances that are derivative of Baccarat Rouge 540 and Burberry Her, you can check this out. But on this channel, you'll never see me recommending Greenwich Village as a full bottle. Another fragrance we talked about on this fragrance, and I did not recommend as full bottle, is the Bond Number 9 TriBeCa, the white bottle. I'm just gonna put the bottle here on the screen and then write down the name. So this is another sister of Baccarat Rouge 540 eau de parfum, but here we're just gonna change up the recipe a little, and we're gonna go get 1 scoop of Angel Muse eau de parfum. We're gonna add the Baccarat Rouge, and we're gonna come up with this TriBeCa. There is that cacao nutty feeling to this fragrance that is combined with the Ambroxan Baccarat Rouge 540 Je ne sais quoi feature. When I tested this fragrance second time around with this decan, I came to realize that there is also a little tart white floral feeling in the middle of this fragrance. It's not right there when you spray, but when you spend a little time with this into the fragrance, 30 minutes, 45 minutes into the fragrance, you're getting that jasmine, not really old smelling, but contemporary, designer white floralish, but not that sweet jasmine in the middle of this fragrance that, nuances the fragrance from maybe, the combination of Muse on Baccarat Rouge, and puts the fragrance into a different, under a different light. So is this fragrance a bad fragrance? Absolutely not. It smells beautiful. The performance is great on TriBeCa. You can really spend 6 to 8 hours with this fragrance. People will feel it, and as this dries down, this gets smoother, this gets sweeter, and then it gets more and more enjoyable. You'll like this fragrance. You're gonna get compliments on this fragrance. This can be purchased as a full bottle, but for the reasons I have been telling you, that this is not unique, and then you can get to a place where you can get this fragrance by layering Angel Muse eau de parfum and Baccarat Rouge 540, I'm not just gonna recommend the full bottle. And one thing that I would like to mention to you is that this white floral dynamic new generation jasmine featured in this fragrance is not life-changing as the bottle you're seeing here. So don't think that you're getting something like this, also the vibes of the other 2 fragrances we've been talking about right now. So the jasmine here is groundbreaking. This is a perfect one. But here you still have a young new generation that kind of like tart, not too sweet, a little kind of like a raw indolic feeling of the jasmine combined with 540 vibes and then Muse vibes. But it's nice, but it's not giving me the full light that I want to go and buy the full bottle. Alright, so these 2 fragrances out of the way. Another recent release Bond Number 9 came up with is the leopard print bottle. I like leopard print, I have it too. This is New Bond Street. Alright, so this is a new generation chestnut tuberose gourmand fragrance. I'm gonna spray this here actually on my arm. No, yeah, this is it, Oh, that's why I'm smelling, because I filmed the Turkish version of this video right before this, the English version. So I sprayed certain fragrances at certain places on my body, and I just want to keep the code the same. So, this fragrance is a bilingual channel. Each and every video comes in 2 different languages. One of them is in Turkish, the other one is in English. You're watching the English version. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm really grateful for you for doing this. So this is a new generation chestnut tuberose gourmand. Alright, so what fragrances come to our minds when we think about Bond Number 9, New Bond Street? Alright, I'm gonna show you one fragrance right now. This comes from the Maison Lancôme. This is a discontinued fragrance actually, and it is called Tuberose Castin. I don't know if you see it. I'm just gonna open it. So you know what? I had a big collection of Maison Lancôme fragrances, but I keep selling them. I sold my Parfait de Rose, and I actually put Lavande Trianon on sale as well on Mercari, because I like cash more than La Menthe Trianon. But what I don't do is that I'm not getting rid of these fragrance. This is Tuberose Castin. This is a very potent fragrance. I talked about this fragrance before on the channel. This is the gourmand interpretation of tuberose with chestnut and creaminess. There is a significant cat litter vibe in the opening of this fragrance that goes away, and that leaves you with the white floral tuberose kind of like delicious gourmand chestnut creamy feeling that I'm here for. So when it comes to chestnut tuberose gourmand fragrances, this cat litter feeling is very prominent. You know, I like piss, so I don't mind it, and it goes away. What I feel when it comes to New Bond Street Bond number 9 is the same. This chestnut opening can be very sharp, very, potent, and it almost feels like, 2-day-old cat litter being scooped. But worry not, it goes away. Another fragrance that I'm going to talk about right now, and I'm going to combine everything with the review of Bond number 9, is the Masculino Madeleine. Masculino Madeleine is another chestnut, like whipped cream kind of vanillic tuberose fragrance that is really insignificant. It smells in the same realm, but it is not potent, it is not strong, and the longevity is abysmal on this one. So when it comes to these whole thing, the theme is the same, gourmand, white floral, chestnut, nuttiness. But what sets this Bond number 9 New Bond Street apart from them is that this is very potent as Tuberose Castin, and this is more masculine. We don't really divide fragrances feminine, masculine, whatever, look at me, and this is anyway. But let's say, quote unquote, this has that masculine vibe to it. You know what makes this a little more masculine is that there is very dry, cold patchouli base in this fragrance. So as this fragrance dries down, with chestnut that goes away, that sharpness goes away, there's that sweetness that comes from cacao and a vanillic feeling that is supported by a sturdy base of dry and cold patchouli note. So this patchouli that I'm getting here is not like the raw, wet feeling of patchouli where we have in the older formulations of Angel, but this is more like a dry, deep down, but still hard, like not so like warm. It's kind of like a cold, earthy feeling of patchouli on top of this like white floral, nuttiness, chestnut, vanilla, cacao feeling. So in that sense, this is more masculine. So if you're out there watching, and if you're into gourmand fragrances, and if you want your gourmand fragrance be a little more masculine, and you want to use that fragrance in cold weather, kind of like the fall winter, I think this is a very good release from Bond number 9. I think I'm doing justice with this review to this fragrance because this is not a bad fragrance. This is a really nice, kind of like a unique, but the combination of the different fragrances unique, next generation tuberose, chestnut, vanilla, cacao, patchouli, gourmand fragrance. It is substantial. But again, on this channel, since I'm gonna go with another fragrance that I would recommend with my eyes closed, is different than Bond number 9 New Bond Street, I'm not going to recommend this as a full bottle. Alright, so the next fragrance we are going to talk about today is the newest gourmand release from the brand called Chelsea Nights, which I was so excited about because I love Chelsea in Manhattan. It's a gay village. I live in San Francisco, and if you walk for 10 minutes, you end up in the Castro. which is our gay village or like LGBTQ village here in San Francisco. So I'm like, okay, this better smell extra gay. This needs to be really potent, really sexy, kind of like a party clubbing vibe. And guess what? Their release said that, this is really like a gourmand. This is more like a nightlife feeling. Hence the name Chelsea Nights. And then, Chelsea being the gay village of Manhattan, LGBTQ village, or like the sexually liberated place in Manhattan, the most sexually liberated place in Manhattan. I was like, okay, I need to try that. And what I did was to purchase a 5 ml decant of this fragrance that you are seeing on your screen right now. So I'm gonna spray this here. Oh yeah. So I like this fragrance. I think this is a great release. And I feel like this is a unique fragrance. The opening is very addictive. I don't know what I'm smelling. I might be wrong, but I'm still getting that kind of like a Baccarat Rouge 540 vibes, but maybe I'm hallucinating. No, it's hallucination. Whatever. This is unique. The opening is very like fresh too. It definitely piques your interest and you want to smell more, which is great. I love an addictive opening in my fragrances. And as this dries down, things start to take a turn to a better place. It gets floral. You get the rose. You get the white floral feeling, and it gets warmer. It gets a little spicier, and an hour into this fragrance smells beautiful. I'm like, oh my god, it is giving me life. It is sweeter, and at the end of the fragrance, like as this further dries down, you get that synthetic wood vibes that kind of like supports the fragrance. You get the vanillic vibe. So what I was reminded of was one of the recent releases from Inicio Parfum Privé, Oud for Happiness. So if you like Oud for Happiness, oh my god, you are in a treat. You are in such a good treat for this new release of Bond Number 9 Chelsea Nights. Go definitely check this out. I did like this. If someone gifted me a free bottle of this fragrance, would I use this? Yes. So some fragrances on this channel, I say that, you don't even need to spend money on a decant. But this, you can purchase a decant and try it if you're into the brand, Bond Number 9, if you're not boycotting it. And if you are into gourmand fragrances that will really shine in the fall and winter months. So this is perfectly it. And what is really good about this is that it is completely, I think, genderless. They, nailed that. They kind of like, nailed that part with that Chelsea Nights, that, gender bending, like sexually liberated, kind of like LGBTQ, non-binary vibe, like unisex. I think the name definitely, reflects what the fragrance smells like in that sense. Maybe, when we talk about Greenwich Village or TriBeCa, we can say that, they're really kind of like facing the feminine side of the spectrum. And when it comes to the other gourmand, New Bond Street, which we've just talked about, maybe things are maybe like, more fluidic toward the masculine side. But this is right in the middle. This can go anywhere. This is a great gourmand fragrance. Hats off. I mean, whether you like the brand, whether I like the brand, I don't like the brand, I spend the money or not, this is a nice release. This is a really good fragrance. And if you are into Bond Number 9 and if you like gourmand fragrances, you have to give this a try. This is a great fragrance, and I urge you to try this. But I'm not urging you to buy a full bottle, because the next one I'm going to talk about today is, I think, the best Bond Number 9 release so far. And to be honest, one of the best fragrances in my collection, and that is called Bond Number 9 Chinatown. Wow, this is tremendous. This is a tremendous gourmand white floral fragrance. What you are smelling here is spicy feeling. You're going to be getting some soapiness from gardenia. You're going to have that a little kind of like plasticky, rubbery feeling. But at the end of the day, the blend here is second to none. This is a unique release. I think the perfumer behind this is Aurélien Louis, and he is doing a lot of cool tuberose fragrances. He is really kind of like specializing in tuberose as far as I know, and with this one he knocked it out of the park. This is the best Bond Number 9 fragrance. I am gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna recommend this with my eyes closed. This is the one. This is the one you need in your collection. I love everything about this fragrance. I featured this fragrance in my video where I talked about niche fragrances for fall and winter, but to be honest, this smells so good that this is so fucking 24/7, 365. Do yourself a favor. If you like white florals, if you like spiciness, if you like, you know what? Think about Chinatown. Think about the smells you would get and combine that with a little kind of like sweetness, gardenia floral feeling to it. If that sounds like your thing, maybe this is even blind buy worthy. It is that good. And here it is. I paid my own money and this is the only Bond Number 9 I'm not getting rid of. I just sold Bond Number 9 New York Wood when I moved from Pittsburgh to San Francisco. That is a great fragrance too, in my opinion. I think Bond Number 9 Signature and Bond Number 9 New York Wood are perfect releases, and Bond Number 9 New York Wood shines beautifully on male skin, but still the best, the one and only Bond Number 9 that is giving me life is this beautiful compliment getter, totally unique performance, like 4 to 6 hours it's there, but since I like it so much, I keep reapplying it, I keep refreshing it. Oh, so good. If you like what I like when it comes to fragrances, and if you kind of like quasi trust my opinion, I would urge you to go try this fragrance. This is the best release from Louis Rahmed. This is Bond Number 9 Chinatown. Alright, so I'm gonna take a sip and we're gonna wrap this up. So how did you like this video? We gossiped a lot. Some of them were actually concrete, solid facts. And then we talked about these 5 fragrances. Let me know down in the comment section what you think about the brand. Do you spend money on Bond Number 9? Have you tried these fragrances? Let's keep the discussion going down in the comment section. And like I told you, on this channel, I'm never gonna waste your time with free bottles. I'm not gonna be featuring free bottles that were sent to me like a sales associate, like a YouTube sales associate, which I'm not. I worked at retail before. Like I told you, I worked at Sephora, I worked at Apple, Starbucks. This is not what I'm doing here. What I'm doing here today is that I'm trying to create a community where people enjoy fragrances and where they can tell what they feel about fragrances, in a very free manner, in like an honest way. And then there's no like a brand affiliation. There's no like, oh my god, if I kind of like say this, would they ever gonna send me another free bottle? Am I gonna like put my relationship with the sales associate I'm working with, or like the whatever company, in a different or bad situation? So we don't have those things. So what I'm giving you is that what I actually spend my money and my exact honest thoughts. But fragrances are something that is personal, something like we collect them, but it is also like the taste. My taste is reflected in my collection. So what is your taste when it comes to fragrance can be different than mine. So always keep in mind when it comes to sampling different fragrances, and especially whenever you decide to buy a full bottle and spend your own money. Alright, before it hits the 40-minute mark, I'm gonna thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate you a lot for watching my English videos. Somehow maybe I get lost in the algorithm, which is not a big deal, that my English videos are not getting the views I'd like them to, but that's alright. If you have watched this video to this point, I am so very grateful for this, and I cannot wait to see you at the next one. Take care, everyone.